Hello and welcome back to the NGS Storm Division. We're here in the playoffs and the, I guess we'll call it the losers finals, but these two teams have done a whole lot of losing this season. I'm the Crushinator. I'll be hosting tonight, and I'm here with Jinxie Cat. How you doing, Jinxie?
I am so excited for these final games. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a really, really good matchup here. We've got WildHeart versus TFZugrugs. The winner of this best of five going to be moving on to face Heavy Impact in the grand finals. Now, the last time these two teams met, it went all the way to 5 games. WildHeart taking a 3-2 over TFZugrugs. Do you feel like that's going to happen again here? Do you think these teams are as close as the standings would say?
I absolutely believe it'll go to Game 5. TFZugrugs have put on a really fantastic performance just throughout the lower bracket. And WildHeart, where there is always, the meme, WildHeart takes it to game number 5. And up until the last game last week against Heavy Impact, they won every single game number 5. So it'll be interesting to see if they've got their groove back or if it is going to be the Zugrugs who have fought so hard to get there, taking it all the way.
It'll be, this is going to be one to watch for sure. It'll be, this is the first game of the night here for NGS, a nice early 7 p.m. start we've got. The teams are in the lobbies. We're getting ready to go. So we better get you apprised of the map bans here. Looks like WildHeart banned away Alterac Pass and Sky Temple. TFZugrugs banning away Battlefield of Eternity and Towers of Doom, which you were saying earlier seemed to be kind of what a lot of teams are banning these days. We don't get to see Battlefield and Towers all that often anymore.
Yeah, it's been a lot of just more macro maps, trying to find those camps, taking small team fights. Nobody really wants to take the big 5v5 anymore, it seems.
Yeah, just a lot, a little bit of macro splashed in there. They don't want to just brawl forever. And we are going to be going to Tomb of the Spider Queen here for our game number 1, as chosen by TFZugrugs. We should be starting up here in just a moment. Be able to jump right into this draft, and I'm excited to see what we bring out here. One pick that honestly used to be very, very common, especially on Tomb, that we haven't been able to see a ton of, is Junkrat. Do you feel like we might be able to see that displacement playstyle resurface here, or is he just sort of fallen out of the meta?
Goodness, that's a hard one. There's so many champions right now that just do such a great job. He does poke a lot. Li Ming works as well. So it's not completely out of the realm of possibilities. We know CPX, aka, is he not playing tonight?
No, he's in there. He's Storm CPX now. Previously Adrenaline, previously CPOGX.
That's right.
Many things.
I was looking for Adrenaline, couldn't find it there, but yeah, it is a CPX classic. So if any map was the map to have it would probably be this one.
I'll have to see if it comes out here. I've seen my share of Deathwings show up on Tomb of the Spider Queen as well, so we'll have to see how spicy our teams get as we start with a pretty standard ban here, though first banned by WildHeart, we see Sonya taken away, so not interested in picking it up themselves here on Tomb.
It's really interesting, especially, Tomb I think is probably the map we've seen the most resurgence on in the Storm Division, and there's the Hogger band a couple. In the last couple of games, we've seen Sonya and Hogger picked up by the team who actually gets second pick, which is really interesting. Tonight, though, not going to be the case, obviously. And with the Medivh ban, I wonder if we'll see the Uther here from the Zugrugs.
Uther, a common ban as well. And like you said, some teams, they just pick up something like an Uther Sonya, an Uther Hogger, Sonya Hogger, and they just go, well, we don't need a tank anymore. We've got the strongest front line that we could possibly build. So I think we might see some tanks in this here draft, as all 3 heroes now banned away, along with the Medivh taken out. And Weary Day, I'd be happy to pick up that Lucio first pick.
Absolutely. It's just one of the, at this point, it's what do you want to play against the least? There are so many really strong heroes available. Falstad has seen a lot of really high ban priority. Another one being things like Mei is very strong right now. Looking through, there's another one. Cassia is really powerful. So just, what do you want to play against the least? What do you think you can counter better? And as I speak of it, Johanna Cassia coming right now for Collusion and CPX.
Surprising to see the Johanna come out from Collusion. It's been a lot of Mei lately. Though on Tomb of the Spider Queen, having the wave clear that Johanna provides is definitely a bonus. since Cassia's wave clear is okay, especially once you pick up the Surge of Light on 7. But being able to boost that with a Johanna is definitely useful. Going to see
Absolutely.
Unaverted come on through with a Sylvanas and an early Leoric for Zergling.
Yeah, I guess with the top tier offlaners being banned out right now, hoping to just pick that up early. Leo is really interesting because they can look interesting. Definitely going to be banned out by the side of TFZugrugs there. But Leo can kind of double soak on this map. We've seen a little bit of a change in playstyle occasionally where a team will push one lane and then leave their offlaner to grab the other two. And Leo does that pretty well.
Yeah, we've seen a little bit more priority from these pro players onto the bottom lane of Tomb of the Spider Queen. And like you said, Leoric can definitely work with that. And Deathwing, Leoric, a pretty classic combo, going to be denied by TFZugrugs there. And Chromie taken off the board by WildHeart. So TFZugrugs, they can go a lot of ways here. There's some strong healers still up. You've still got your Brightwing on the board. We could also see something a little bit more aggressive to try to dive onto the Sylvanas, maybe a Karazim. See what comes on through here. It's going to be a Malfurion and a Tracer, so another combo here for TFZugrugs.
This is an interesting one. This is old, like, HGC 2018 style of Tomb of the Spider Queen here. Typically, obviously, we wouldn't see Cassia because she hadn't been reworked then. Something like a Greymane would usually take her place. But we're actually going double tank over here on the side of WildHeart Esports as Stukov comes out for Buds and Pitkid is going to grab the Zool. So now, who is the tank, actually? We know WildHeart has an aversion to tanks, but, you know, we've seen the Leo tank from them. We've seen the Stukov tank. And now Zool tank is something that everybody has kind of seen a little bit of.
Zool was kind of one of the first when people were starting to think about, do we need someone in the tank role to be the tank? I feel like Zool was one of the first, like, could we do a Zool tank? He's got the root, he's got, you know, the debuffs to be thrown out. As we see, IB Ting's going to pick up a Zagara here. Very interesting last pick here for TFZugrugs on such a small map. But I'm looking at WildHeart versus TFZugrugs here, and there is a definite mismatch in terms of wave clear between these two teams.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how they do it. You know, combo and combo, lots of split pushing. Maybe the Zagara. We've seen her come out before. We've seen her work before. This is a really small map for somebody who really just wants to kind of shove lanes.
It is interesting. I mean, Zagara can put out a lot of pure damage with that auto attack build, just not really the greatest at finishing, folks. But you've got Cassia Tracer there as well to get those final hits in. Maybe they just wanted a comfortable hero who can just put out enough early team fight damage for those other heroes to finish the job. We'll have to see how these comps clash.
Absolutely. As we head on into our first game of the evening, I just want to say I think the members of TFZugrugs are going to become very strong as the game goes on later. You know, 16 especially, Malfurion gets a lot of burst healing capabilities. Zagara will have that percentage damage on all of her summonings. So we might see TFZugrugs lose out a little bit early on. Other than that, though, it's going to be a really exciting match. We'll just have to wait and see.
We will
Unless they
see.
die early.
Starting on the left in the blue, we have WildHeart. Unaverted is going to be playing the Sylvanas. Pitkid is on the Zool. Buds is playing Stukov. Zergling on the Leoric. And Weary Day on the Lucio.
And over here on the red team, we've got Legacy on that Malfurion. Collusion will be your Johanna. Ipting's on that Zagara. CPX is your Tracer. And Fancy Pants will rock that Cassia.
Game number 1 is underway here. Zool tank is really going to be what people are keeping an eye on. Whether the Tracer is able to avoid or get away from those roots that are going to be coming out. Can TFZugrugs use that kill pressure to counteract the wave clear that WildHeart has drafted? As we see WildHeart not even really showing up to the mid-fight. They're just doing what their comp does best and getting to lanes.
Best way to stay ahead of a kill comp is to just try and out-soak them, try to push in, maybe grab some camps later on. First thing I notice when I look at these teams is Pit Kid going for the Shade at level 1, so that is the negation on auto attacks while the Bone Armor is active, but it does add that extra 10-second cooldown to it.
Yep, Zool going to be trying to negate the Tracer auto attack damage, Zagara, Cassia. A lot of auto attacks coming on out from TFZugrugs, so definitely a good pick there from Pit Kid. As we see CPX is going to be slowed down by Stukov, and Weary Day going to try to harass this Tracer. And there's this, you know, this focus onto bottom lane once again. WildHeart is rotating a lot of members down and leaving Zool to do the majority of the double soak here between top and mid.
They know they have the advantage of being able to spread out anywhere. They know that they can just kind of look for these early structures. So, you know, why not do it? Poking out a little bit here. Zool is great at double rotations, as you mentioned. And now with this camp down even further, they're going to get further ahead in the bottom lane.
Unaverted putting a bit of damage onto CPX there in between mid and bot. You see Zool and Johanna sort of trading lanes here. Leoric moving up to the mid. These sort of helter-skelter rotations coming on out from WildHeart are keeping TFZugrugs guessing on the rotations, and we see now some pressure in the bottom lane trying to take advantage of this camp.
Members of TFZugrugs looking to just push it away. They don't want to let these structures fall too early, especially with Unaverted down there. They know that Sylve can just totally change the way the game is played. So CPX is gonna come look for Weary Day and Buds here, though. They're healing. It's just a bit too much. Turning back around, gonna drop the Pulse Bomb on Unaverted. But again, Weary Day is there to save the day. No problem.
Having that double healer makes Tracer's job that much harder. There's not going to be too many low health members of WildHeart just wandering between these lanes. As we see another 4-stack in the bottom lane here, but the full response from TFZugrugs. Circling going to take a little bit of damage, but Buds and Weary Day are there to keep Leoric nice and healthy.
Have that biotic armor now, so of course with the extra 10 physical armor on the pathogen for Stukov. I'm not sure if everybody was watching there, but we're really seeing just how well this double support plays early on. Zagara was chunking away unaverted on the Sylvanas. Quick D from the Stukov, and back up to full health he basically went. It was going to be really hard for the Zugrugs to push out this bottom lane unstoppable force. That being said, camps, camps, camps. All about the camps getting that extra XP. So turning away from that just for a moment to make sure we're grabbing all of these XP bonuses where we can.
It's going to take definitely some extended fights to break through this double support of WildHeart, but you're looking at Zagara, you're looking at Cassia, that's a lot of sustained damage. So if TFZugrugs can get into these extended engages over turn-in points, over bosses, or during pushes, that could definitely work in their favor, as mana bars are not really going to be a limiting factor for them.
Absolutely, that's a great point. At least what we were saying earlier, the longer this game goes on, I'm curious to see if WildHeart will have the damage to really deal with a lot of these. Yeah, big burst already coming out onto Buds. Had to drop that extra healing. And then we have the targeted excision coming out there. Was curious to see what he was going for, but yeah, will be that targeted excision.
I feel like Buds was kind of hanging out there just trying to pop that reactive Ballisto spores just to get the slow, as we see Unaverted gets the Haunting Wave out. CPX trying for the Parting Gift. Won't quite get the kill onto Sylvanas, but it will allow IB Tings to turn in 14 in the bottom lane here for TFZugrugs. Both teams now starting to stack up on those gems. Collusion sitting on 29 here on the Johanna. So these teams are really going to start to look for space to get these gems turned in.
The hard thing with having so many gems on your tank is, you know, that's the #1 person who's supposed to be defending for the team to turn in. They have the best peel on the team. We're going to see that Iron Skin come out as the rest of the members of TFZugrugs are going to be chased away. Getting that tank will be turned in, and that's kind of the love-hate relationship we have with Johanna on this map. Is her role kind of changes a little bit. She's a fantastic wave clearer. She's really been saving these lanes for the red team, but now a lot of really squishy bodies are going to try and turn in, and once again Collusion just cannot cut it. Weary Day on that Lucio. There's a reason he gets banned out so much.
Weary Day just chasing out CPX in the corridor there. And yeah, like you said, like Johanna, great double soak when necessary. Good front line, great at just picking up those gems. But with so many jobs, trying to find an opportunity for Johanna to turn in, you're going to need a team fight. You're going to need a kill or two to get that done.
Game's just going to continue to battle it out here. We should see one of those team fights quickly enough. But Blue Web Weavers going to be the first Webbies descending. And I like the pacing that WildHeart are setting for this game. They're very close to level 10. One of the things we always see is the first Web Weaver never gets the value you hope it does, and then the second one getting so much more with the level 10s. Turning the first one in around level 10 is going to allow them to come in with those heroic abilities and potentially make more happen than just getting the typical front wall in a lane or two that we typically see.
Level 10s are here for WildHeart. TFZugrugs right on the edge of getting 10s themselves as they set up for the defense. It looks like WildHeart going to focus mostly on the mid, going to be a possible rotation onto bottom lane. Collusion now up to 43 gems, going to take some extra damage from Unaverted, popping that shield and walking on back. It's like, yeah, just some sustained pressure, and actually WildHeart going to split a little bit towards the top lane as Collusion is low once again, has to actually pop the Falling Sword to get away here. Falling Sword, an interesting choice, but I think that could be the play to get away from this Zool.
Really smart pickup down in the bottom. We're going to see a big fight come out. It's going to be Zergling who ends up losing out the most here, as about 25 gems were lost in that last team fight. IB Tanks was able to pick up those gems for CPX, who doesn't have... I was trying to see if they had that stacking quest on Tracer, but it doesn't appear to be the case. So Tracer traded out for Leo there with the gems. That's a big loss to WildHeart. They're not going to have that second turn-in readily available now.
Yeah, they're going to have to build up those stores once again. Leoric was holding the majority of those gems, and no one else was in the area to pick those up. Collusion trying to turn in part of those 52. The Skeletal Mages are going to come out for the interrupt as we see HitKid moving on in to try to get the engage. But look at the counter coming in from TFZugrugs. Valkyrie comes on out, gets a big pull on Sylvanas right into those Malfurion roots, and Unaverted is going to go down here. WildHeart being pushed back by TFZugrugs, and we may see our first red web weavers of the game.
Collusion gonna be able to turn in now, and great plays by TFZugrugs there. Really nothing Unaverted could have done. They'd already used those Banshees. And at that point, it was just do as much damage as you can before you end up going down. She will be back in 3 seconds, but a big defense has been taken away from WildHeart for the moment. Another big root coming out. There's a sleeping from the Emerald Dreams. Pulse Bomb not going to connect. Zergling will catch CPX in that Entomb, but not enough damage readily available yet, and as such, everybody manages to get away.
Unaverted back on the field here. They've got this camp to provide a little bit of spell armor so they can try to step up and clear this wave. That's a big web wave. Hitting all 3 members there from WildHeart. They're trying to make sure that they keep all of their forts here. Looks like Leoric going to hold down the top lane. Zool clearing bottom versus Zagara. And the mid web weaver already cleared up. But remember from before, Unaverted is going to be hit with the Valkyrie right into the roots once again. What a surge of light, and that Sylvanas going to fall again. Weary Day trying to get away, manages to boost on past. Collusion tries to hit the Falling Sword, but it's not going to land here. And the fight continues, Jinxie. Can WildHeart get away?
They have that Entomb ready to go now. They're going to catch Fancy Pants with it. Cassia has no escapes out of here. There's no damage in position. Picket is too low. It's 2 supports and a Leo to step up. So at that point, it's more just to incite panic. We actually saw Lucio in that fight get the high five off onto Sylvanas there, but it was just too much damage too late. They tried to get him out. By the time he was finally cleansed, he was dead.
WildHeart now trying to make sure that there's not a quick second turn in here from TFZugrugs. Collusion holding 35, looking for an opportunity to turn in. Fancy Pants holding 29. Both of them could turn in solo, and WildHeart still needs another 6 gems for a turn in of their own. So it's going to be a lot of moving between the points and trying to find out where TFZugrugs is trying to turn in.
I think this is a good play by them, constantly just looking to push in and give WildHeart some busy work to do. It's going to be really hard fighting around these choke points. As we've seen, TFZugrugs, they can control the chokes so well. They have an insane amount of damage. And now that they've gotten out of the late game, it's going to be really hard for WildHeart to kind of pick off anybody in a 5v5. We are going to see the Unstoppable come out there on the pick to get that root onto Tracer. Massive Shove will come out, sending Collusion back to the base. It seems everybody is just going to reset. They press their R's real quickly, and then they head on out. Skeletal Mages and Mind Control were also used in the fight.
Stukov combo did land onto Tracer, but Malfurion with some great roots to deny it. Devouring Maw is going to catch 3 here. Collusion jumping onto Sylvanas on the backline and going to gather up the rest of the 3. Certainly doing a great job of chasing away the backline of TFZugrugs there. And the team's once again trading even more heroics out, and no kills to show for it, and they're evenly on the way to level 16.
These team fights are just an absolute wet noodle fight. As I say that, Tracer is going to go down. The big thing being WildHeart doesn't really have the damage as Tracer goes down, but when they're hitting everybody, they don't have the damage to really pick anybody out of the fight unless they find that one person with the mind control like you just saw there on a ZPX. That being said, despite TFZugrugs having the damage to kill somebody off, the double support is just so insane. So we're getting these really, really long fights. That coupled with the fact that, Cassia goes down. Johanna going to be able to jump away.
That falling sword is looking more and more genius by the moment there from Collusion, picking up those gems and hightailing it on out of there. And one combo that we're starting to see evolve in these fights from WildHeart, when you've got that Zul root, it's pretty easy to line up a Stukov combo, line up a mind control. So it's almost like a delayed shot call that we're seeing here from WildHeart as they go ahead and try to take this boss with Cassia down for another 7 seconds. TFZugrugs, they're going to move in here. There's going to be the recall from Tracer, and Tomb is going to block off Collusion from trying to get onto the point. It looks like TFZugrugs not going to risk it. They're going to give over the boss to WildHeart along with Blue Web Weavers.
Good call by them. If anybody went down there, it makes it that much harder to defend. That being said, big push up in the top lane. Everybody is here. Unaverted is diving in. Collusion taking lots of damage from that level 1 Might of the Banshee Queen, getting that extra spell power in. There's the black arrows coming down. Collusion falling sword. At this point, they're trading a 60-second cooldown.
Mind control hits.
Mind control hits. There is the Cassia going through. Johanna going to be the first to go down there. No escape this time. Cassia comes in. I take back everything I said. Simplicity Legacy running for his life. Pickett, though, very low underneath the tower. Couldn't get away. That is going to be 1 for 2 traded out here. Another root with the Might of the Banshee Queen will save the life for Legacy, who gets trapped in and goes down once again. A great entomb by circling on that Leoric.
This could be a core call. This boss is still very healthy. 3 members down on the side of TFZugrugs, and WildHeart is going to move on to the core. IB Tinks and CPX trying to poke in from the edges. Johanna and Cassia still down for 5 seconds. The core is starting to fall, 70% and counting. WildHeart is taking full advantage of this push. Can they push through to the end? 25% on the core. There's a lot of low health bars here. Zergling's going to go down, but so is the core. WildHeart draws first blood. GG.
Oh my goodness. There was so much going on that game, but it happened so quickly, so hard to dissect there. As we take a look, very close, very low kill game. 6-5 in favor of WildHeart.
Man, just the combo of the Zul root into all of the silences that came out from Stukov, from Sylvanas. Leoric had some fantastic entombs there onto critical targets there at the end. But, you know, Collusion was going for the cheeky play, popped the Iron Skin, moved past to try to bait WildHeart backwards to allow the rest of TFZugrugs to clear away that objective. But WildHeart didn't fall for it. They waited by the gate. They caught Johanna with the mind control after landing. And 69 gems, a very nice pickup there. Just snowballed for the victory. I didn't see that push ending the game there, Jinxie.
Yeah, me neither. I thought for sure, you know, maybe we'd see a keep go down. Maybe a hero might go down. But just constant fight, like you said. I think the target excursion, not the target excursion, excuse me, the virulent reaction coming up at level 13 was a big pickup for WildHeart that really, like you said, just allowed them to keep somebody there forever. And even if you have no damage, you know, if they're stuck in a silence, in a route, in another route for 4 seconds, that's a lot of time to just beat on somebody. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, they found Tracer with all of the blinks and recalls was rooted for long enough for a kill to come on out. Johanna with that giant health bar still went down to that sort of length of CC. It was a very cool draft. The Zool proved effective in that tank role and allowing everyone else to do their jobs. Very, very nicely done.
Now look here, see if there's anything else that I find super spectacular, unusual that we're getting through. I definitely saw where TFZugrugs was going with the comp. I think maybe on a larger map, it may have worked out more for them, but the rotations were just so crisp and clean by WildHeart.
Looks like our next lobby is up. We're going to be going to Infernal Shrines for game number 2. Just taking a look to see who chose the map. Should have that info in just a moment here, but Infernal Shrines, that's a bigger map. That's something that, you know, could play into TFZugrugs' hands here, as their comp to be able to roam in between lanes, to be able to move forward for picks, might work out better on a map such as this.
Definitely, it could well be. That being said, I'd like to see a little bit more early wave clear from TFZugrugs, just so they can get that early advantage, because Infernal Shrines can snowball so hard if you're not careful. Sonya does rise in priority. We'll see if that's let through or if it's going to be banned out this time. Hogger, another insane hero on the map. Again, though, could potentially be banned out. There are so many good picks. Falstad, it's a larger map, so could rotate around looking for ganks. Lots of different options for him.
Another one that can come out on Infernal Shrines with, you know, other solo laners being banned out a lot is D.Va. D.Va being able to build that bomb, claim the shrine, and just create a lot of space can come through and be a big impact here on Infernal Shrines. Though these teams, you know, the timing of when to try and go gank a D.Va, when to try to go and get that bomb baited out before an objective, if D.Va does come out for either team, it's going to be very important to be watching that mini-map and to be tight on the comms, so that that bomb asset doesn't get popped before the objective.
Absolutely. Able to just clear the wave in an instant, get rid of those little skeletal defenders. It is so hard to gank a D.Va. Looks like everybody is rocking and rolling and ready to go.
It was WildHeart that chose Infernal Shrine, so TFZugrugs opting for first pick here in this second game. And we're going to jump right into the draft once again here, as we now have an opposite first pick here for game number 2. We'll see what that does to the ban priorities as we load on up.
So, in the lobby beforehand, Legacy was giving us the down low that if you get first pick and left side, you're super stacked. We have first pick now going over to TFZugrugs. Left side still WildHeart. So hopefully it'll be a little bit more even for him now.
That could even it out. That could be the play. I prefer playing from the left side. I don't know why. I'd get into matches, I start playing from the right, I start feeling like I'm left-handed or something. It just doesn't work out.
See, I feel the same way, but I would rather be on the right-hand side. Whenever we're home team, I'm like, oh no, we gotta be on the left. I can never remember where all the camps go unless it's something like Infernal Shrines. I'm also a map pick fan though, so maybe that's why my team lost so much this season. We're right team map pick.
Dang. Sometimes it just doesn't work out, but you figure it out over time. We see some healer bans to start things off. Lucio taken away by TFZugrugs. Uther taken off the board by WildHeart. With this Medivh ban, that means either Sonya or Hogger, or possibly both, are about to make it through.
One of the big strategies you'll see them do up at the higher levels of play is leveraging these bans. First pick is so critical. Hogger going to come through, and this should be a Sonya. However, in the past, we've seen Stukov picked up. Just kidding. There it is. Ivy Tangs on the Sonya.
I mean, you can go into draft strategies like we're going to try to counter pick the good pick and you try to bait it in that way, but what makes meta, the way that Sonya is that she's still good into stuff that's supposed to be good against her, right? So it's a draft gambit for sure to leave a pick like Sonya up and available. It is going to be the D.Va, though, coming out for Buds, because it'll be a little bit of a map pick there, and a Deckard here for Weary Day, possibly trying to ward away a double support strategy on the side of TFZugrugs.
Interesting, the Deckard coming out so early here.
It's a big commitment onto zone control. D.Va,
Right.
very good at zone control. Deckard, very good at zone control. Collusion going on to the Mei. Fancy Pants will take away that Sylvanas. Some heavy push power on TFZugrugs.
I wouldn't be surprised if TFZugrugs take this time to put together a really strong four-man that can kind of handle themselves on the Shrine, not necessarily win it, but can make it a challenge to fight and let Sonya just push. A lot of the times we'll say, you know, once again, that first objective isn't always the strongest. It gets about a fort wall unless something goes drastically wrong. So Sonya, however, in that time can get a full fort. We'll have to see if that's how the members of TFZugrugs are going to play it this time. Ban out Brightwing to try and reduce the double soak of the Zugrugs here on the side of WildHeart.
Yeah, Brightwing definitely can prop up your macro on a map like Infernal Shrines, especially if you're looking to rotate heavy onto walls or rotate heavy for ganks, as we see Deathwing once again banned away by TFZugrugs. I mean, it fit well with Leoric before. Deckard, it can kind of work. You've got the roots, you've got the setup to allow Deathwing to wind up with that Molten Flame. And Deathwing is another sort of area control hero that may fit into WildHeart's strategy. We'll see what they're going to do instead. It's going to be Tychus Diablo. Kind of a combo that was very, very popular, you know, 4 to 6 months ago. Around Christmas time, we were seeing nothing but Diablo Tychus coming out again here for WildHeart.
All right, the gloves are off. Kid picking in actual tank. We know they're serious now. But it was kind of serious, you know, Zool, we're not seeing him go with the Tychus that we saw last time, the Phoenix that we saw the other day. This is a really, really strong draft coming out from TFZugrugs. They grabbed that Falstad, they grabbed the Stukov. I'm kind of worried for WildHeart. This is nasty looking to play into.
You know, there's a lot of numbers there on TFZugrugs. Sylvanas and Falstad puts out big numbers. Sonya puts out big numbers. And Mei is just such a great battlefield controller. I think it might be tough for Tychus to get in there. But Mephisto kind of bypasses a lot of that. If they can keep Zergling's body safe, it looks like Unaverted going to switch on over there. But if they can keep that Mephisto safe, Sylvanas and Falstad might feel the hurt a little bit.
I really like the Mephisto, and I agree 100% just because there is a lot of different abilities coming in. I'm trying to find the right way to say this, not I sound like an absolute fool. But so much zone control makes it really hard to look for that Mephisto. You know, Cassia is something that we typically see, so they waited, picked him up last, so there wasn't going to be something that countered him so well. And besides Mei getting in there or Falstad flying behind, that's going to be a slippery hero to catch up.
Absolutely. We've got, the Deckard is looking pretty strong, especially if they were... I feel like they were thinking about that Mephisto from the start, picking up the Deckard early there. Because if you can get people rooted, get people slowed, that's a dream scenario for Mephisto for sure. So it's not going to be all on Tychus to try to get damage while a Mei's up there in the front. So I like how this draft came together, but like you were saying, TFZugrugs, they've just got a pile of pain that can take you down from really any situation. They've got Burst, they've got Sustain, they've got CC, they've got the whole package there over on the red side.
When we were talking about D.Va and you had mentioned, you know, you have to try and figure out when to gank D.Va, I was kind of thinking to myself, you know, what really ganks D.Va just because she is so hard to get a hold of. But as we go in, I think Falstad is a beautiful counter to the D.Va. She comes in, she's safe, she thinks she's going to push, and then you can fly up and instantly make that lane a 2v1. So really, really well done by the Zugrugs this time round.
Excited to see how these clash. Let's introduce the teams on the left in the blue. It is WildHeart. Unaverted going to be on the Mephisto. Buds playing Tychus. Pitkid on the Diablo. Weary Day on Deckard. And Zergling playing the Diva.
And over here, rocking the orange health bar, it's going to be TFZugrugs with Legacy on that Stukov. Fancy Pants will be your Sylvanas. Collusion on that May. IB Tings is your Sonya. And CPX will be your Falstad.
Game number 2 loading on in here. Reminder that this is a best of 5, so this will not be the final game. As we load on in here to game number 2, and we see the bottom tower being zerged down by Sylvanas. Collusion trying to cut off the rotations here, but on the chase is Diablo looking for anyone to shadow charge. What a route coming on out from Deckard. This could be trouble here for TFZugrugs. Is Legacy going to get flipped over? But Pitkid actually going to be the first to fall. Bud's all over the backline, but may have dove a little bit too deep. Nice route to escape, a nice potion. But getting most of the tower and getting the kill here is TFZugrugs.
Didn't get the tower in the end, but that was rough for WildHeart. Thought for sure that we're going to see Legacy going down. Collusion better be careful now, 400 health. But,
oh boy.
Ooh, needed to be more careful there. Ended up going down. 2 kills over to the side of TFZugrugs there.
Wow,
I thought for
big
sure they had
lightning rod
overgained.
damage. Coming on out from Falstad, just chunking and getting that last hit. As we see the teams look to move to the camps. Getting ahead on the kills means that TFZugrugs seem to be able to claim this bottom neutral camp first, while WildHeart grabs their left side Impalers.
I think WildHeart needs to slow it down just a little bit. As we're going to see an Invade come in a bit too slow there. Not even going to look to charge onto Legacy. Pitkid, once again, now going to taste a little bit of their own medicine. Ends up going down, stuck in the silence. Couldn't charge anybody away. May with a beautifully timed Blizzard. Circling, trying to get somebody. Manages to pick off Sylvanas. The mech will go down. They don't even use that bomb up. Legacy getting low. Zergling and the Baby Diva low. Weary Day. Deckard is a bruiser too. Manages to escape.
CPX a little greedy there, trying to get the kill onto both, but both managed to wiggle away. Nonetheless, TFZugrugs push back WildHeart. They're going to get an easy clear in the mid. Great start. If we take a look at the experience here, they're ahead on those hero kills, a little bit behind on the minion experience, but overall, pretty worth here in the early game.
They're getting exactly the value that they'd like. These front walls not looking the healthiest here. However, this time round, WildHeart will be the folks to scale up. They're going to look for CPX, not able to find that flip just quick enough. As such, he will get away. Has to tap before, which can be a pretty big cooldown to burn before we head on in. Again, actually, I was going to say Sonya could push here, but unless IB Ting starts moving soon, it looks like they might look just to contest up in the top lane.
It is a top frozen shrine for our first objective of the game. Mephisto looking around the edges, trying to get some dismounts, but is going to move on back to safety. As WildHeart tries to clear away this top shaman camp to get theirs pushing towards the fort wall. And Bud's going to go ahead and start this up before level 7 is here. Looks like there's some pressure in the mid, though, from TFZugrugs. They're just going to go ahead and split off.
See Diva come in with the big mech. There's going to be that level 4 nuclear option. IB Ting bit off a little bit more than they can chew. Great sidestep there from Zergling coming in and finding the pick on to Sonya there. CPX in the back looking for unaverted. Legacy, though, gonna be the next to fall here, and everybody from WildHeart will manage to get away.
Uh-oh, CPX could be in some trouble here. Was moving up, managed to pop the mech on Diva. Nice barrel roll over the terrain. Uh-oh. Got the Impaler's attention, but is going to be able to fly away. Tychus this whole time, just been clearing this objective. I said, hey, where is everybody? I guess I'll do this. 35 minions down, no problem. And Tychus just going to solo pick up this objective. Nice job by WildHeart to respond to that sort of alternate objective strategy from TFZugrugs.
Masterfully played by the master players themselves. There's a reason they were second in CCL, and now this is a little bit of a problem. Great use of the cryo freeze there from Collusion. but giving this up only works if you get value elsewhere, and TFZugrugs really didn't. So now they're going to lose the wall. They may even lose this whole fort here. This is a frozen Punisher. Lots of damage onto Collusion there. Lots of damage onto Bud. CPX in the back. Pit Kid getting low as well. It's a bloodbath crush.
Just root after stun after root. CPX trying to get away here. Pit Kid wants a shadow charge, but is not going to get it. This fort is going to ultimately go down here, and WildHeart almost finding the kills. TFZugrugs doing a good job of stabilizing there, but I feel like they were right on the edge of losing 4 members, and they managed to keep everyone alive. So, I mean, they didn't lose anyone, so it's a good defense for that, but usually you don't get an entire fort off of your first objective.
They're just using all of their resources. You know, mana is a resource. Why not health? Gonna come in, look for the invade here. Will manage to succeed and grab it. Trying to slow him down.
Get the well. There they go. Nice peek over the wall. That's a nice little trick that you can do at home with your Impaler camp. If you can give that camp vision right as you cap it of that enemy well, they'll just stay there and keep autoing it till it's down. Very nicely played there by WildHeart.
I never actually knew that, so I learned today. I was sitting here, I was like, what could they possibly be fighting over? They're not hitting the tower, but that's a really, really smart move.
It's a little bit tough to pull off sometimes, because if there's too much of a gap between the auto attacks, they'll instantly lose vision and then go trundling around. So you saw D.Va throwing out the micro missiles, you saw Pit Kid using the Fire Stomp to try to maintain that vision over the well. But if you can get the Impalers starting to attack and staggering their attacks enough, yeah, it's sort of a cheeky little pickup and bonus that you get for taking the enemy camp. Oh, Falstad going down in the top lane. Fancy Pants being chased out by Zergling. D.Va is just putting on a clinic up there. Think Fancy Pants gets away here? There's the Haunting Wave. Sylvanas will escape. Or will they escape? What a Verdict came up.
Okay.
I didn't even see Mephisto there. I moved the camera away. And, yeah, by the way, the push in the bottom still happening now, a 3v3. Tyka's going to pop this Odin, and there's still a whole wave here. WildHeart just putting on the pressure here in the mid game.
One of the most amazing things about the WildHeart team is just their awareness of what's happening on the map. Constantly figuring out, you know, how can we extend this lead to up in the top to take on the Sylvanas and the Falstad up there. They're really pulling apart what we thought was kind of the triple S tier comp of TFZugrugs.
Now with level 13 to 12, WildHeart has the advantage. We'll see what they can do with it, whether they're going to move back to the bottom lane, try to clear up this mid, as it is going to be a mid-arcane Punisher for the next objective. And with no Shaman camp to take, TFZugrugs, they're just trying to soak as best they can, try to find their level 13s, so they have a chance to fight over this objective.
Want to get wave priority here. That's really big, and capturing the objective allows you extra vision to see if your enemy tries to approach from the bottom. Also looking to, again, just push out that front wall. They're going to try and find Pit Kid there, looking for Buds as well. Both heroes are going to be able to, maybe unaverted mind control.
There's the sleep from Deckard. It's not going to be enough to save Mephisto. Unaverted, peeking a little too far out there as Weary Day and Bud's trying to get away from the slows of May. Pit Kid in the back line now kind of 1v5ing, uses the Shadow Charge to try to reposition, but a nice bump back from the icing. Looks like WildHeart is starting to stabilize. Zergling is going to lose that mech. Uh-oh, Buds may have moved forward a little bit too much. The Haunting Wave, Fancy Pants commits and gets the kill, but now Fancy Pants could be in a tough spot. Pit Kid comes on through and converts the counter kill. Still 2 for 1, kind of an extended 2 for 1 as Mephisto's already back up. But IB Tings on that Sonya already clearing away this objective.
Oh, goodness. I feel like at that point, yeah, you kind of have to. He had 22 health. You don't just let that go unpunished. So, Fancy Pants does go down. It was a solid lead on the objective here now. Will the members of TFZugrugs, though, be able to hold it? There is so much zone control. You've got lightning rings of death. You've got triangles on the floor. D.Va chose to let go of the mech. rather than bait the bomb there. So she does have it for this next team fight. And now 11 skeletal defenders are all TFZugrugs are going to get, it looks like.
Yeah, we saw CPX having to clear away that uncontested Shaman camp in the top lane due to WildHeart stealing that right side Shaman. And with the Diva Bomb fully active, it will be very, very tough to step into that WildHeart team on the point with any kind of speed. So we are going to see TFZugrugs go down. Actually, we're going to see a 39 cap for WildHeart as they try to get these lanes situated in a way that gives them an advantage on this push. Diva going to get the last hit there, and the Arcane Punisher going to be marching down the mid.
WildHeart just on top of every little micro decision that needs to be made. Great jump away by Collusion. They're going to bait John over the wall. Arcane Punisher is still very strong. Not the big bad boy he used to be. Iceball will come out to try and separate unaverted. Great unstoppable there by Pitkid, using the Lightning Breath to avoid the mind control. And now another fort goes over to WildHeart.
WildHeart, they're going to get this Punisher baited over the wall, but the Odin is in. Pitkid is over top of the wall, on top of Ivy Tings, and a nice gust from CPX is going to separate the rest of WildHeart. Diablo moves out, but the bomb moves in, and that's going to be May going down here. WildHeart has the 16 advantage. Can they continue the push like they did in game number 1? The Odin will expire, but this mid keep is in serious trouble. Legacy gets flipped over. Pitkid wants the flip. Stukov is going to fall. Zergling is going to be demech'd. And uh-oh, Ivy Ting's still very healthy. Diablo is down. Tychus is down. Deckard is down. And Sonya is popping off.
Run! Zergling running for his life. Looks like Unaverted is going to be the pickup there. We do have that pew 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 coming in for Diva. Unaverted just buying time. We'll be looking to trade out Fancy Pants here. CPX is here once again over the wall with the Windrunner. Sylvanas escapes safety.
Zergling still working on Ivy Tings and CPX here. That mech is going to go down. Ivy Tings is trying to heal off this wave, but the auto attack damage from that pilot Diva is so strong in close quarters there. We will see Sonya fall. And through all that, WildHeart, they've still got the pressure. They probably aren't picking up this keep, but they do lose a lot of the experience lead that they had before, as we're basically even on levels now.
Both of these teams just fighting it out constantly. We said we weren't going to get any of those big team fight maps. Well, it looks like we are, and it comes in the form of Infernal Shrines. A significantly different way of play than we're used to seeing, as these teams are still fighting. I think this is the 4th ice wall that we've seen this fight. Everybody keeps respawning. They're going back in, looking for blood. That massive shove is going to push everybody away. Falstad, though, going to go down. Going to be a stay a while and listen. Sleep on a Collusion has already burned that protect that he gets from the trade. That cryo freeze coming out. And finally, TFZugrugs are going to be the ones to back it up. There's the Durance, though.
Stukov goes down. I don't think this fight ever actually ended here. Fancy Pants being dove by Zergling, trying to get away. Oh, the micro missiles come out. Zergling down behind enemy lines. Collusion getting zapped on by the Mephisto. That's 3 down on the side of TFZugrugs. There's no objective here to help this push. There's no camp. Is WildHeart still going to go for it here? They've got about 30 seconds of at least a 5-on-3. Ice Wall comes out. It is going to stop the Odin. Ivy Tings and Collusion still healthy enough as the stun from May comes on out. Falstad back on the battlefield, and WildHeart is going to keep on pushing.
Core call has been made, 86% on the core. The team is healthy. They have a catapult with them. Collusion will have to use the cryo freeze in the back. Ends up going down. It's only Sonya and Falstad. Pitkid traded out. There's the Durance for Falstad, though. Legacy is back. It's not going to be enough. The heroes are so healthy. Sleep just to lessen the barrier. And that is going to be second game going over to WildHeart. GG.
I don't know if that core call was more likely or less likely than the game number 1 push. I mean, we had, what, a 4-minute continued fight there in the mid. No objective, no camp, just a little minion wave. And WildHeart uses their positioning, uses their CC to pick up enough kills to take a game number 2 in another surprising fashion.
Oh my goodness. WildHeart is absolutely insane. There's no two ways about it. I mean, look at this TFZugrugs comp. This is like the dream comp. You pick these up in a draft, and you know, if you showed me this on paper, I was like, oh, easy. Red team wins. But just the way that it was played at one point in the game, you know, Pickett is over the wall, and I was like, all right, Justin, like, what is calculated and what is greed? Well, apparently that was calculated. They traded in the Diva mech. They get the kill. They get on out. Gets a little bit spicy in the middle there, but the constant pressure from WildHeart using these heroes that are so hard to get on top of, like the Mephisto, it completely blows my mind just how smart these players are.
And just taking a look at this Diablo build, it is the full Flame Stomp with the Lightning Breath, even the Devil's Due on 1. So getting those regen globes, getting those timely taps, means that the regen available on Diablo is incredibly, incredibly high. And I feel like that definitely contributed to Pickett being able to dive deep, being able to stay for so long, and not fall to this excessive damage from TFZugrugs.
He knows exactly how to handle that health bar. You know, sometimes a little bit too much, but I'm just so blown away because TFZugrugs, we've seen them all week long. You know, the last month they've been in this lower bracket fighting for their life every single week, and they have managed to make some amazing plays. They may, I will say though, have met their match. However, there's not a 5-game meme for no reason. Let's see if they can't bring it back.
It is definitely possible. These are very strong teams that can bring out strats. It could be, you know, WildHeart. I don't want to say they've been known to goof around, but sometimes when they get ahead in these series, they haven't gone for the throat the way that, you know, they could have. Though it being, you know, the position we're in the playoffs, WildHeart may be looking for a quick 3-0 here. We'll have to see as we are going into Dragonshire for our third map of the day.
Ooh, Dragonshire. This, I wouldn't be surprised if TFZugrugs picks this one up, because this has been kind of the Zugrug go-to safe beat-em-up map. It's their
looks
understanding
like
of the map
WildHeart is the one who chose it, if the settings in the
Really?
lobby are correct. Yeah. TFZugrugs are going to have first pick here. Now, one thing that I've talked to people about, if you're going to be second pick, Dragonshire is not a bad map to have it on, because it's such a reactive draft map, and being able to get a good top lane matchup is a big advantage. So it's not the worst, but like you said, TFZugrugs, they've shown a lot of prowess here on Dragonshire, and they get first pick.
Makes sense. WildHeart, they're particularly skilled on Dragonshire as well. But if I'm TFZugrugs right now, they've got it made in the shade. You know, I'll have to double check on it, but the last time that Tetra and I were casting TFZugrugs, they had a 100% win rate on Dragonshire. We'll have to see if that's changed since then. This might be where a little bit of the hubris comes in that we were just talking about.
It could also be a strategy, like if this series is going to go the distance, we're likely going to end up on Dragonshire, and we might as well take it when we're up 2-0. That could be part of the thought process as well. Or it could be WildHeart just saying, oh, we think we can beat you here.
That's a really smart thought that I hadn't even considered. That's really, really good, you know? If you're going to lose, then do it quick, get it out the way. Donkey T, thank you for gifting 5 subs to the community.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. Kaima Tripson, Sergeant Trucka, Augusta Aquila, Speak Truth to Power, Tigerfish, enjoy your emotes. Thanks for hanging out today, and thanks again, Donkey Teeth, for your support. Always see you out here in these Storm Division games. Glad to have you. As we're getting into our draft number 3 on Dragonshire.
All right, so we know the typical heroes that we pick up. Once again, TFZugrugs do have that first ban and the first pick. They're going to get rid of the Lucio. Do you think they try for the Sonya again, or do they hold the offlane to see if they can't get a more favorable matchup? Because this is a really, really important offlane to win.
As first pick, I don't mind taking one of the meta offlaners if they're available, because you're not going to be able to react to the enemy offlane, most likely. So, I mean, if your Hogger or Sonya are up, you just go, well, these are the ones that have the least counters because we feel like we're going to get countered regardless. But maybe, you know, maybe they've got something up their sleeve that they try to save for a later pick and bait out a little bit more draft information from WildHeart. As we see both Sonya and Hogger up and available. See what WildHeart is going to tempt them with. Uther still available, hasn't been able to make it through yet. Gotta believe that's on their mind. It's gonna be a Hogger ban, so we've got an Uther and Sonya available.
Curious to see if this is the bait by WildHeart and if TFZugrugs take it, because Uther is available and Mei has been banned away. People have been arguing, have been known to make Uther's day more difficult as a main tank. That coupled with the fact that, you know, Collusion absolutely put on a show there for the in the last game on the Mei. Makes sense to get rid of it, and it looks like if it is bait, TFZugrugs are gonna bite.
I like this choice from TFZugrugs to go with the Uther over the Sonya, because it's going to force WildHeart to give up their last pick offlane advantage by taking the Sonya here. We see Zergling picking that up, and now it allows the first pick team to have a reactive offlane pick. They do give up Sonya for it. They're going to put the Leoric up in the top lane, but I think taking the Uther there is definitely the call.
Absolutely, I agree. We're going to see Leo come in, which is interesting to me. Tychus is really solid as well. Leo is very safe in lane. He has the Tomb, so makes sense to pick him up.
Yeah. Can clear away the Bruiser camp, can get away from most ganks. Not really going to be 1v1ing Sonya up in the top, but you don't exactly need to. As long as you're getting the XP and you feel like the rest of your team can control one of the 3 points on the map, safety is pretty good here on Dragonshire in that top lane.
Oh my goodness. Will you say it again for the offlanes in the back? You don't need to 1v1 the Sonya! there are a couple of people I know who need to hear that. It's okay to stay back and soak in your lanes. Anyways, thanks. That's my rant. Brightwing gonna be banned out here. Chromie once again. What are we looking to see from WildHeart? I have a feeling kind of in my heart that we may see maybe Justing pull out a Dahaka here. I don't feel like that's too unheard of, even though Sonya already has been picked up.
WildHeart has played Dragonshire as a split push map in the past. The Buds on Falstad, I remember specifically doing a ton of top lane pushing and using the global in that way. It's going to be Stukov and Cassia, though, just a solid combo here from WildHeart, and they're going to leave their tank pick, or possibly not tank pick, for last, as Pit Kid. I don't think I've ever seen him play a Falstad or a Cassia tank, but Stukov and Sonya can definitely be up there in the front line.
What is going on right now? This is a spicy team comp coming out from TFZugrugs.
Varian Kerrigan with the Tychus and Uther. That is a pretty lethal kill combination. With Leoric possibly able to double soak top and mid, this crew can clear a lane and then just roam around. Yeah, I like the strategy. Pit Kid gonna have to try to respond. It's gonna be a Tyrande. Well, I didn't see that one coming. We'll have to see. It looks like
happening?
All right. So Weary Day is gonna go to the Tyrande. Buds is looking at the they're flip flopping. We're gonna wait. We're gonna let that settle.
Roulette draft. Everybody
Buds
starts
on
flipping.
Tyrande. Pit Kid is on Falstad. Okay. So Bud's not on Falstad. Buds is going to be playing Tyrande. Weary Day is going to be on Stukov. Remember what I was saying about how WildHeart might be looking for a quick 3-0? I'm not sure that might... I'm not sure that was the plan with this choice. You know what? They're big brains and I'm not. I'm not seeing it. I'm sorry, I'm not seeing it.
I'm looking and clearly I'm not a master player. So my tiny gold brain cannot comprehend. But this is definitely a draft. I'm like looking for ways to analyze it, and clearly I'm living in 2020 and Justin's in 3020.
We'll have to see how it works out. On the left in the blue, it's going to be Buds on Tyrande, Zerglings playing the Sonya, Weary Day on Stukov, Pitkit on Falstad, Unaverted on Cassia. It is WildHeart.
And over here, once again, in the orange, looking to get back into this series, it's going to be TFZugrugs, Legacy on the Uther, Fancy Pants is your Kerrigan, Collusion on the Varian, CPX is your Tychus, and IB Tings on that Leoric.
Have to see how these teams clash. I mean, there's, you know... Oh, God, I'm trying to... Sonya and Falstad can get some good pressure alone. Stukov has been known to survive in the front line. But just the pressure play here from TFZugrugs, if they catch anyone, even through the double support, I've got to feel like they're going down.
Yeah, this one doesn't feel... Like the last game, we knew they were kind of squishy, but it still worked, and the double support was there. Both Tyrande and Stukov have a more slow healing output than the Lucio in there with them, and with that extra save in the cleanse. I don't know. As you said, Crush, we're going to have to see just how it works. Zergling is going to back up, being bullied out in the top lane here.
Illusion doesn't have the taunt just yet, but there's the pull, there's the stun, and there's the dead Falstad. Once the taunt comes on top of that, I feel like that Falstad could be anyone on the side of WildHeart. That's just so much damage in such a short window. Though, you know what? Double support has done some amazing things in this Storm Division season, and I'm waiting to be proven wrong. I want to see it proven wrong. I want to see the talents come on through to make this work, because... You know, I'm hoping this just wasn't just memes. I'm hoping to see the genius here.
Me too. We're going to see this done on to CPX. That's a lot of damage, but Uther heals so very much. And, you know, maybe that's it. A good point to make is both of Uther's heals are incredibly long cooldowns. His Legacy on the Uther, obviously main support Uther there. Still going for that tanking build, meaning that it's going to be quite a while before those heals come back up once they're out.
Collusion now with that taunt variant health bar is going to start to move back in and look for these picks. Taunt goes out onto Weary Day. There's the pull. There's the stun. The follow-up from Buds is there, but just too much damage from TFZugrugs. They're going to pick up that kill. Get able to barrel roll away. Right now, WildHeart is controlling both top and bottom, so TFZugrugs isn't going to be able to roam terribly easily. Looks like Varian going to maintain pressure in the mid.
Zugrugs going to step down, grab this bottom shrine. Right now, all Unaverted can do is soak. Sonya getting that camp up in the top lane there. Going to try and help out with some of the pressure coming through as the members of the team of Zugrugs are just rotating around constantly. They have control over this shrine. See if they can't buy it back on the side of the blue team.
WildHeart coming up, trying to find IB Tings here. Buds will get the dismount, but Sonya is able to take that top capture, and with this Bruiser Camp pushing, no Bruiser Camp has been taken for TFZugrugs. We'll see how much WildHeart prioritizes this top pressure. Collusion chasing Buds out of there. The Zergling is going to get taunted here, going to try to move back, but the stun from Uther comes out. There's the follow-up from Tyrande, though. Zergling is going to get away. Right now, Kerrigan wasn't able to come up and join, having to keep an eye on that mid cap. And Cassia just kind of free soaking down here in the bottom lane.
They're not losing XP, and that's the biggest thing I think WildHeart needs to do right now. Level 10s, I think, will make this a lot stronger for them. And even though we're kind of joking about the comp and kind of being silly, I think one thing to say is, despite everything that goes on here and despite everything that's happening tonight, one thing we can't laugh at is Buds' Tyrande. Everyone in the chat telling us about how amazing they are, and it really shows that last team fight there, getting the stun to save Zergling's life. Uh-oh, getting a little bit of a Dragon Chite kick there from Collusion. Falsa's able to barrel through the wall.
WildHeart trying to collapse here. Collusion could be out of position. Manages to get the first parry. Trying to get behind the wall, but PitKit is locked on. That's going to be a Varian going down here. Ivy Ting's trying to get away here. Will not be caught by the Tyrande stun. And it looks like Leoric will escape. Kerrigan able to take that bottom cap, so WildHeart not going to be able to channel a dragon just yet.
WildHeart just continuing to put in pressure here in the middle lane. They have a pretty good amount of siege with the Sonya and the Falstad. Double support to keep everybody alive and kind of ease the strain on one healer's mana bar. PitKit, it looks like, will head on back. Ooh, Ivy Ting's almost catching him out there.
Like he wasn't even there. Like a shadow in the night. Just like Cassia was going down to that gank in the bottom lane. We'll see Unaverted rejoin us shortly. But TFZugrugs, they've got some pressure down here in the bottom lane. We'll see if they can turn that into some camp pressure as they look to move to their own siege giants.
All about the camps. Camps, camps, camps. I know I always say that, but really, the camp downtime needs to be next to nothing for these teams here if they want to be able to fight it out. Both of them looking for heavy picks here. Having the extra pressure while they're fighting does help them to get ahead in the long run.
See WildHeart trying to challenge this bottom cap at Legacy there. Stalwart, able to maintain the pressure. Sonya did take back top for WildHeart there as level 10s come on through, and we're going to see Odin committed by CPX trying to take advantage of this siege camp down here in the bottom lane.
Sun will come out. Odin free from struggle from right now. Just going to continue pushing away. Opening up this front wall makes it much easier to find ganks in the bottom lane and control this bottom shrine. If they can find the well as well here, that would be even better. But Odin has expired. There's the taunt. There's the Uther follow-up. Kerrigan not going to connect anybody. Weary Day coming from behind. There's Cassia. There's the leap. D-Shield already coming out. Weary Day very low. Retreats through the Starfall, but does end up going down. Zergling trying to get away, but there's so much CC, and Fancy Pants is done playing around. Two-man stun coming out. Taunt onto Cassia. That's going to be 3 for nothing. And Dragon Knight should go over to TFZugrugs.
A triple kill on the bottom lane here for TFZugrugs. They're going to get themselves a dragon capture as well, and the pressure is starting to pile on here. Bottom lane fort is going to fall. Dragon looking like they're going to work on mid for now. WildHeart is starting to come back. So TFZugrugs, they don't want to stick around too long here. But we did see it is going to be the Hinterland Blast for Falstad, so they don't have to worry so much about a flank gust when they're in these positions.
There's a lot of burst damage on the side of WildHeart. We are going to lose this middle fort here. Dragon looking to head back up now. Still lots of health and time on it. Leo is in the Dragon, so a very safe hero who can pretty much use the full health bar and hope to get away scot-free. Don't look for Zergling. Dragon kick once again. We've all definitely been there. Now it looks like everybody's just kind of ignoring that save Sonya up in the top as they all go about, once again, soaking and grabbing these fights in these other lanes.
TFZugrugs maintaining pressure onto these bottom lanes. Looks like they're going to go ahead and start up this bottom bruiser camp. Top bruiser camp going to be worked on by WildHeart. They are down level 13s at this point, and also down 2 forts. So they're going to have to be careful about how they move around the map, as their lanes of travel have definitely been limited.
Pushing them in like this makes it so hard to come back. The lanes are quite long on Dragonshire from the objective to the keep. So if you lose these forts, then a lot of the times, even just to soak a minion wave, you're kind of a sitting duck. And TFZugrugs has done a great job of making WildHeart feel like they're stuck.
And now Collusion moving on out is not going to find a charge target, but the siege giants have been stolen. Going to move on with the remainder of this bruiser. There's the Odin coming in from Tychus, and TFZugrugs going to try to get some siege in. WildHeart has their 13s, though. They could look for a way to turn this around. Zergling coming in to join the fight.
The big thing here is now we have Virulent Reaction for Stukov and look to try and lock Fancy Pants down whenever they try to go in, or anybody else. Are going to see Leo caught in that Cassia there. Big D shield coming out. Leo will be the first to go down. Combo executed a little bit better here as now Tychus will be the one to fall. Uther next on the chopping block. Fancy Pants going to buy time in that Chrysalis. In the end, though, that is going to be all 5 members of TFZugrugs going down. Really well played by WildHeart.
Well, I guess you don't need Gust when you have Flailing Swipe. we saw Buds, or Weary Day, I should say, just kind of walk past TFZugrugs, slap them all into the wall, Pit Kid with a giant Hinterland Blast. Wow. Yubby Tinks goes down again, and WildHeart all of a sudden with the opportunity to regain the map here. Top fort pressure from the minions is enough to take that down, and we're going to see a quick dragon picked up by Pit Kid.
WildHeart back in the game, and we're seeing the value of that combo here now. The Weary Day and Engage, you never think to look for the flanking Stukov. What an incredibly smart play there by WildHeart. They're come to look to push in here. I like what they're doing. They're leaving the 4-man down in the bottom. They're going to try and look for Leo here, who ends up being the one caught in the entomb almost, it feels like. Followed up by that Virulent Reaction.
Weary Day somehow still alive. CPX is going to be pulled, but the Unstoppable came out. It wasn't quite enough. The trade for Weary Day is in. Zergling with the leap as Unaverted and Ivy Tings dueling on the sides. This could be trouble. There goes Tyrande as well. Fancy Pants could go down for it. The taunt comes out onto Zergling. The D-Shield is enough to keep Kerrigan alive. It's a 3-for-1 so far. Pit Kid has the long barrel roll and is going to send TFZugrugs on a merry chase. There's the charge. There's the taunt. Still pretty high health, though. No, there it is. There it is. That's going to be another kill here for TFZugrugs. 4 in total for the price of a Tychus.
So it looks like when the combo works, it works really well. When it doesn't work, it doesn't work. They just back and forth. This... I'm on the edge of my seat right now, Crush, trying so hard to dissect it and be like, yes, this is my scientific heroes analysis. But without Balsad there, without that extra follow-up, I feel like the damage output was maybe a bit too slow for WildHeart. And they really suffered for it, taking that elongated fight without a proper tank.
TFZugrugs looking for a camp invade here. WildHeart not yet finished with this camp. All ults, Interland Blast is about to come up, so WildHeart does have their combo available once again if they do find a favorable position. TFZugrugs trying to control the mid right now. They will have their Divine Shield in 10 seconds here, so they'll be at full strength. Looks like Leoric could be in trouble in the top lane as WildHeart is rotating in onto Ivy Tings. Leoric trying to take advantage of that armor, but there's the root combo with the silence. Ivy Tings is going to go down, but maybe you've just been buying time as TFZugrugs is pushing down the bottom lane.
Odin coming back in once again. They're looking to push the keep here. Leo dying isn't the worst thing in the world. He'll always come back quicker than anybody else. He comes back anywhere on the map. However, it looks like the members are going to have to retreat on the side of TFZugrugs. Whole team is here. Leo will be back momentarily.
Ivy Tings pretty close to coming back online. Right now, both teams fully in the bottom lane. TFZugrugs trying to get this camp on the way out. And WildHeart, they're on the chase here. Collusion got to be careful. Unaverted with the fend forward. And in a little bit of a tough spot. There's the taunt that comes out onto Weary Day. Unstoppable onto Varian, but there's the pull. Collusion is going to go down here. The laser from Falstad not getting a lot of hits there is going to be on a very long cooldown, but there's the root silence onto Kerrigan. It's a double for WildHeart, and they're going to keep pushing here. Tyrande almost with that big owl. Ivy Ting's going to start to heal up, but WildHeart with another couple kills, blowing all of their heroics. We'll see what they can do with this advantage.
both teams having such high execution comps, and it really shows these fights getting so chaotic and hectic there. Unfortunately for Kerrigan, the Ultralisk stun did not connect, and that allowed the taunt target to get away. Meanwhile, in the back, Bud's following up a beautiful stun, and it really turned it for WildHeart there. Once again, we're going to see Pitkid on the Falstad get in the Dragon Knight. And you might be right, Crush. This might be the quick 3-0 for WildHeart here, as they're coming back in this late game, and they are looking strong.
It's 19-19 on levels. We're about to be basically even on structures as bottom fort is going down. Tyka's going to be sent back to the base. Dragon Knight's still very healthy, little under a minute left on it. We'll see how much they can do. Right now, Leoric is counter-pushing in the mid lane as Zerglin comes on in. This could be trouble here. The silence on the gate is there, and TFZugrugs going to have trouble moving up. Odin is popped by CPX, and they're going to try to defend this keep.
Come in. Falstad isn't here, remember. That's a big part of the damage for WildHeart. He finally is back. 25 seconds still on that Hinterland's blast. Did not connect with anybody to get the CDR in the last team fight. But it looks like Keep has been saved. TFZugrugs, though, may not be able to grab the pick. Great barrel roll over the wall.
This chase is still on here. Fancy Pants wants a pull. Unaverted going to try to turn this around, but the fight is in the corridor, and Vulnerable goes out onto the Kerrigan, and Cassia is going to fall. There is a giant laser in the back there from the Falstad. So far, only Cassia down. Pitkid is going to be able to get away here, and only 22 seconds till the next laser. But still, Cassia down. TFZugrugs, they're going to try to put some pressure onto this bottom lane.
Their turn to take the keep. Gonna look to grab these bottom minions, and actually just gonna look to reset down here in the bottom. It looks like invade it down.
Ivy Tings could be stuck on the point here. They tried to jump on to contest this. There's another giant laser from Falstad. It's a full reset. It's a second full reset, and a full team wipe comes on through from WildHeart.
3 Hinterlands Blast. We have the upgrade here now. It's the double rage, 25% more damage, and then the constant resets, just blowing the members to bits. Only Legacy back alive with that redemption. There isn't much he can do to defend here.
My goodness, they're going to start pushing this top lane. They've got a bruiser camp to push in here. 30 seconds until the core of TFZugrugs is back on the battlefield. The keep wall is starting to go down. There's no other keeps down. WildHeart, this could be another one of these extended core rushes. They've got 15 seconds to work with. There's the leap. It's going to land. Unstoppable comes out, though. Ivy Ting's going to survive the kill combination, and that could be enough to push WildHeart back. They are going to start to retreat.
Falstad is prepped on that heroic ability. Looks like Dragon, though, is going to be the bigger priority. Has been picked up here. Can Legacy stop him? We're going to try and settle it down. There's the stun. Does not connect. One of those controlled chaos lives. Make it 2. He's got one more left in the chamber. Kerrigan comes in. Great stun combo.
Ivy Ting's trying to move up, does not have the Entomb here, but Zergling in all sorts of trouble. Sonya is going to go down. TFZugrugs moving on up here, but Tyrande putting out so much damage. Ivy Ting's going to have to be careful here. Fancy Pants gets a quick pull. Collusion trying to move up as well. It looks like it's going to be just Sonya down for now. TFZugrugs see if they can control this dragon, with WildHeart still having 4 members up and moving.
Have to be careful as Sonya is pretty much all of the engage, save Weary Day going through with that flailing swipes, which should still be on cooldown here. It looks like they have time to spare. They know that they're just going to wait and see what TFZugrugs do before turning around and clearing it, buying time for Sonya to come back.
Picking up the camps here in the bottom lane, trying to do a little bit of a build-a-boss is TFZugrugs, and that is almost certainly going to be bottom keep threatened as WildHeart starts to retreat back to that position. We see Pitkid moving forward and stealing a little bit of a bruiser camp here, but maybe taking it a little bit slow. I don't know, as the bottom keep is certainly going to be going down, but with this sort of push, core could be threatened here.
Falstad has gotten off of that camp, is looking to hearth back to base here.
This position has favored WildHeart before. There's the laser coming on out, still on a 90-second cooldown, though. There's the taunt silence on the edge. So many low health bars, but there's Kerrigan once again with that D-shield, going to pick up the kill onto Tyrande. Core shielding is down, but there goes Leoric. TFZugrugs, there's a lot of low health bars here as Collusion is trying to back up. Legacy and Fancy Pants working on the edges, but look at the damage coming up from Pitkit on the edge. Uther is going to go down. The core is saved for now, and WildHeart is really just trying to corral in TFZugrugs. CPX trying to trade out. There's Unaverted with a giant surge of light. Varian falls. Stukov is actually going to fall for the trouble here. CPX trying to move back. Uther is going to fall once again. Fancy Pants trying to turn it around onto Unaverted. CPX is going to fall. It's a 5 for 2. IB Tings is going to come up in a second, though. I don't think WildHeart can end here. They might be able to pick up a dragon and end, but Leoric's so strong right now. I don't know if Pitkit can get away from this.
Oh, just squishy or small enough to squeeze out. Are going to see the leap come through. IB Tings being 2v1'd here. No respect from WildHeart. He is going to end up falling. Dragon is in the pocket of WildHeart. Really great defense there. Is this the end? That top keep is gone. The hard thing about pushing on Dragonshire, as we saw in that last core call there by TFZugrugs, is these keeps are so close together. So even if you get one, you're still being shot by the other two, it feels like, depending on how you play. We do have Illusion back up. Varian alone, not really the savior that I think TFZugrugs are looking for. Going to be kicked away. Legacy is back. Now it's all about that core call. But the core mechanic also one of the best mechanics in the game as Bud pops like a balloon. They're fighting the heroes. Dragon Knight is wailing away. 21 minutes.
Zergling is still trying to slam this core. Core down to 14%. Unaverted gets popped out. 6%, 5%. Is it going to be enough? Someone hit the core. Weary Day gets the last hit. And WildHeart lock up the 3-0. Oh my goodness, they almost defended it.
So close for TFZugrugs. They've been putting it down for the last months, and finally they can rest. I'm sure they must be so tired coming back week after week to fight. And as for WildHeart, absolutely well done. Masterfully played. Nobody knew what they were doing, and I think that's one of the strategies that worked out so well for them. What does this team comp do? Well, the only way you find out is after they do it.
Comp aside, looking at the side of TFZugrugs, they've got a very specific plan. They're going to find someone in charge range of either Kerrigan or Varian, or Leoric's going to set something up with a slow, and they're just going to blow up whoever they find. Like Stukov, Tyrande support doesn't matter. There's so much damage and stun there. And regardless of who WildHeart ended up picking into that, I think their play into that comp ultimately is what kept them in that game and allowed them to surge ahead. They just didn't really show for a lot of picks. They weren't caught between lanes. The kills mostly came from team fights, which is exactly the way that you've got to play into that comp. Very, very well done from them with an unorthodox comp, but they still just played the map well and played into the enemy team in the most appropriate way.
Absolutely. Well done to both teams there. I mean, just basically came down to, what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object. And today, WildHeart was able to come through and pull it out, which means they will, for the third time this season, have a rematch against Heavy Impact, the only team this season to take a series off of them.
It's going to be an exciting one. Heavy Impact has shown a lot of prowess, especially through the playoffs. Just a team that has been through it before. But WildHeart looking extremely strong here. Coming back for that matchup is going to be a treat.
Gonna look at talents in here, and then maybe we can see if we can't get the members of WildHeart in to talk about the games.
See if we can get them. Take a quick look here. Yeah, we saw the Starfall on Tyrande just getting a ton of value there. Not the upgrade on level 20, going for the Ice Blade arrows. Instead, going for that damage reduction effect, which almost certainly helped keep WildHeart alive in those late team fights. Other than that, things looking fairly standard across the board as far as I can tell.
Taking a look. I'm no doubt in this Fancy Pants Kerrigan build because what a terror on the battlefield. Constantly just jumping in. Boundless Fury coming in at level 7. So that's the Ravage. Grants a charge of Ravage. Anytime you Ravage a hero, you can jump in on them every 10 seconds. Kind of like a high five, except for it kills people at level 7 instead of level 20.
Yeah, I mean, Fancy Pants did a ton of work there. 8 finishing blows that game. Yeah, just TFZugrugs. They had. I don't want to say like they had it. They had it in a couple spots, and they got a lot of value through the mid game in those winning fights. But it was ultimately in positions where they couldn't just Zerg down the core. It was that late call coming on in from WildHeart that allowed them to do it, and that seems to have been just the story of WildHeart throughout this Storm division. It's not that they're winning every fight, it's that they're winning the crucial ones. And that's something that we saw in this series and series past.
I had the opportunity to talk to Goon a little bit after our last series where we were figuring out who would stay in the upper bracket and who would drop down to the lower bracket. And he said, you know, it's Heroes of the Storm. The big thing you have to do is take a fight, level 16, win, and win the game. And I think tonight WildHeart really took that to heart. And even though, like you said, you know, the early game was super rough for him, 23 kills, 18 kills, and I believe, you know, the first 7, it was like 7-1 in favor of TFZugrugs, but they found those late team fights and then just never let go.
Very, very well done indeed. Were you able to see if anyone could come through for an interview? I haven't seen anything so far.
It helps to post in the right Discord.
We'll check in on that.
Please work for me.
Just don't flip off or turn off the camera until we've got something here.
Yeah, no worries. All right, we should have them in just a second.
Alrighty.
Not answering on Discord. Maybe we'll get them on Heroes, you know. They're excited. I'm sure they're cheering and talking about what could have gone better, what could have been improved. Okay, they're asking right now, so we should have somebody in just a moment.
All right, sounds good. We'll wait and see who we can get before we close out our night here.
Any second now.
It is sometimes hard to get a hold of these players. I know sometimes trying to chase down an interview, they're not looking to Discord, they're not accepting whispers from people not on their friends list. It's a whole scene, man. It's a whole scene.
All right. It looks like Justin is going to come in. We're going to hop into a lobby, and then they'll hop in with us. All right. He's in lobby number 1, it looks like.
All right. Let's jump on down there. Alrighty, we are here with Justin. Congratulations on the 3-0.
Man, a few words. You're speaking, my dear. We don't hear you.
Oh, hello?
Hello.
Hi. My settings were broken.
You are
No
all
worries.
good. Big congratulations. Really well done tonight.
Oh, thanks.
Really, yeah, just a solid performance overall. We had a couple of, there's a lot of back and forth in those games. If we take a look at Tomb of the Spider Queen to start things off, it looked like the wave clear advantage was definitely ahead on your side. How do you, with that sort of comp into what the enemy had, what's your early game plan to move into the kill pressure that can come on out from a Cassia Tracer?
So them picking triple range was kind of weird. We didn't really expect them to pick Zagara. If they picked like most other things, I think our bot lane would just push and win with like Leoric and one of the supports. I think we had Leoric. But since I'm Zool, I can just double soak better than Joe, and I'm not really under threat of like dying early because I took the evasion at level 1, so they can't really stop me from just double soaking. So I'm pretty much just going mid and top, and then my team can just sort of run it down bot, and they should win 4v4.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely a strategy we've started to see come out from more teams. It's less of the rotation as a team between top and mid, and more of a double soaker there. And the Zool definitely picks that up, so that was cool to see. The kill combination that was set up with the Zool route into the Stukov silence into the mind control looked very like it's not something that I've actually seen before. Is that something you've been able to practice or were able to key off of, or was that just something that organically came out with the draft?
It sort of just happened. I knew Zool would be a pretty good pick there, just because the E for lockdown is pretty good. Because I think they'd already picked Tracer, and Tracer really doesn't like getting point and click E'd, and also against all those auto attackers, just being Zool and having the evasion is pretty good. So I can kind of just like walk up to whoever and press E on them, and if it's not Johanna, if it's not Johanna who gets E'd, they basically can't get in range of me, because if they ever get hit by my E, then they just get puddled and mind controlled and die, either one or both. But we haven't like practiced that. It's more just like I mean, we played a decent bit with Zool, so people are used to following up on the E, but pretty like telegraphed too.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. Any other questions about game number 1 there, Jinxie?
You hit the nail for all of them. Everything I wanted covered has already been asked.
Sounds good. All right. Well, I mean, we had the extended push there in the top lane with the objective, with the boss moving on to the core. Did that feel like a core push as it was developing, or were the picks that you got on the way to the core crucial in being able to end that game?
I don't think we were really planning on ending until the keep died and the boss was still really healthy. I kind of ended. I just like walked up and tanked the keep and died. But no, I don't think we were really planning on ending. But we got picks and the boss was still really healthy after pushing. So we were just trying to get as much push as possible, but ended up being the game-winning push.
Absolutely, yeah. It was very nicely done there in game number 1, just pushing in with that stack and getting the win. Taking a look there at Infernal Shrines, we had some more, I would say, standard comps when we're thinking about it in sort of Storm League terms. More classic tanks, more classic setups. The one thing that I noticed in draft was Mephisto the plan from the start, because we were a little bit perplexed by the early Deckard. What was sort of the thinking about that pick at that point in the draft?
Well, Deckard's just really strong on shrines because he has a lot of like zone control, and his sleep is really strong on the shrine. And we needed to pick offlane and support there. We pretty much have to pick support there. So it was just he's just probably one of the better ones. I mean, it could have been a different support, but and we weren't really planning on picking the Mephisto. Mephisto was just like one of like a couple options we had for our last pick. I left that up to Unaverted.
Excellent. Any other big questions there on shrines there, Jinxie?
I mean, I guess the big one, I know you've been talking about letting the draft develop organically. So did you go in with an idea of what you guys want to draft? Do you just try to draft to counter the enemy? Because looking at this draft on Infernal Shrines, it was Falstad, Sonya, Maze, Sylvanas, Stukov. That's kind of, as strong as it gets, you think. Were you guys worried about that at all, or is it more just let's just let it unfold and see what happens?
So there's like some. I mean, I'm not exactly like prepping for these games, but draft itself is kind of like sort of a game that you play, and like we knew we didn't want them to have Hogger, so we banned Hogger. So we know they're gonna take Sonya first pick. So
Right.
we pretty much know already. Like our first 2 picks are pretty much predetermined because we know that. Like with the bans, like we know that we're gonna pick a support and we're gonna pick Diva because Diva's just really good on shrines, and then we know that they're gonna pick Sonya.
Sure thing.
And then Diablo and Tychus are just really, really good into Sonya too. So, and if I pick Diablo without picking Tychus, then they'll just pick Tychus and just delete me. So we pretty much have to pick both. But Diablo Tychus is really, really good into Sonya. So that was probably like something that we shouldn't have been able to get. Like I don't remember what they banned second, but we shouldn't be able to get that. And then our last pick is kind of like pretty much can be anything with what the rest of what our comp was.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so, I mean, Infernal Shrines ending in a pretty similar way to Tomb of the Spider Queen, in that it didn't really look like a push for core for a while. I had, I don't know, maybe a 3 or 4 minute extended fight between the two teams in the mid there, just trading back and forth, using the cooldown advantages and whatnot. Just in those moments, what were the main advantages that you saw in that extended fight that allowed you to move on to the core? Was there, a hero you were looking for to come out of the base that you had to kill to continue, or was there just the positioning that you were able to create with the Deckard, with the Diva? You knew you were going to be able to hold on for long enough.
I think after Zerg just popping in and out of mech for like 3 minutes straight or so, just fighting them, and him like just going like like for like 2.5 minutes just in the mid lane. I think we had the confidence we needed to just kind of run it down. I think we sort of just evolved into ARAM because we realized that we had the superior Diva. So I don't know, Diva was just OP. Yeah, Diva kind of just did whatever she wanted for a couple minutes there, and we just ARAM'd it.
Very nicely done indeed. You pick up, so it's 2-0. You move into Dragonshire, and we saw a very interesting draft come on out. Not something that we were left a little bit speechless on what the plan was there, but it seemed like you were able to move TFZugrugs into the chokes there on Dragonshire, fight in the corridors, which was really working out for that Tyrande Falstad setup. Was that something that was a response to that heavy pick style, or is that something that you're able to use particularly on Dragonshire due to how those corridors are set up?
It's mostly about the type of comp that they ran. It was less about being on Dragonshire. The Falstad is like more Dragonshire specific, because if we have I think we had Sonya. If we pick the Sonya and they have Falstad, then our Sonya is just gonna get like deleted over and over and over again by Falstad. So we have to pick the Falstad early, and then the Tyrande was just something that we wanted to try as like a soft counter to Varian. And also they were solo heal Uther, so we wanted to leave our last pick flexible so that depending whether or not they went solo heal Uther or not, we could pick just something with like poke or yeah, basically we were like, I was hovering Lunara. I was gonna play Lunara tank, and then they picked whatever their last picks were. I don't remember, but Lunara looked pretty bad, so we went Tyrande instead, and then I just was Falstad, I guess.
All right. Wow. Yeah. I mean, it was quite the opening. Any questions on Dragonshire, Jinxie?
Yeah. So my big one necessarily isn't about the game, but more maybe. We've seen you play so many different heroes over the past couple of weeks. Obviously, we have the ones like Maiev and Zul, who are technically considered tanks, but things like Phoenix, Falstad, Tychus, nobody really says it in a game like, I'm going to go tank Tychus, and has it end up working for them. So my question to you is, do you consider yourself the tank player? What do you think your role is in the team, I guess, is the question I'm asking.
I mean, yeah, I'm the tank player, but sometimes in certain situations, I think it's better to just play without a tank. Like in that case, we have Stukov and Sonya, which are like, they kind of do the job of being the front line as long as they're enabled, and the Tron kind of enables them to not get one shot.
Right.
Being frontliners. So, yeah, I mean, I've played the game for long enough that I'm pretty comfy on a lot of the like other roles.
Right.
I have certain heroes I can play. Like, I probably won't play the Phoenix again because not as comfortable on that. But we've been kind of just experimenting and doing some stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't mean to take Hinterlands Blast either. That was a misclick, but
Oh
it
no.
was, it was pretty good. It was pretty good.
Three Hinterlands in a row is pretty gosh darn good.
Yeah, that was weird. I don't think I've never seen that before. That was pretty weird.
Well, the 3-0 series victory goes to you. You go back to face Heavy Impact once again here in the grand finals coming up soon. Is there anything that you feel you need to prepare or need to change for this next series against Heavy Impact, or do you feel like you can go in straight up the same sort of game plan and just sort of execute better? Or is...
Yeah, I think we kind of just like griefed the draft the last time we played them, so we are we were doing a bunch of experimenting, and I think now I've kind of figured out like the basic draft strategy after doing a bunch of testing. So I'm probably not going to be playing like Phoenix or whatever I played against them last time. I'll probably be playing good team comps instead, so we should win because of that.
All right, makes
Alrighty.
sense indeed. Well, congratulations on the victory. Any shout outs you'd like to make before we close up here?
Sure. Shout outs to my team, WildHeart. You can follow WildHeart on all the social media stuff and Twitch chat, and you guys. Thanks.
Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Good luck in your next series, and we'll see you next week.
All right. See ya.
Jinxie, I'll call you back.
Alrighty.